Hello my friends, thanks for stopping by. I hope you're all having a great day. Today I'm going to do a tutorial for you on this look. I thought it would be fun to play with some golds in with some neutral shades and also a big bold bright lip, kind of an old styled hairdo. And I just think this is like old world glam, so that's what I did for you. And if you like it, you know you got to stick around to see it. Okay, so I already obviously put some things on my face just to save time, so I'll just quickly tell you what I used today. As my pore primer, we'll say, I used my Dr. Jart BB cream. It's the BB Dissapore. Love, love, love it. Then because I wanted a little more glow for this holiday look, I used the Dior Glow Maximizer. And I don't believe this is their light boosting primer in, why do they have to make everything so small? It's just the base Illuminance, okay? It's very, very pretty. And I just take a little bit of it and I pat it on basically this area of my face, but I did touch all over. Then for under eyes, I also started with a primer and I used the Glow Mineral Under Eye Primer. I think this really does make a difference for me anyway. For my eye primer, I use the one I love the most, and that is the Clarins Eye Perfecting Base. Love it, love it. And I have it in 00. I think it only comes in one color. For concealer, which I used only in the darkness of my eyes right here, I use the DiorSkin concealer and it is in number 2. For foundation, I have on Laura Mercier in Rich Vanilla. I use the Real Technique blush brush to apply it. It's my most favorite blush for my mineral powder. I also applied some IT Cosmetic Bye Bye Pore on my nose just to reinforce that Dr. Jart Dissapore. And I use the multitask brush, which only comes in a set with Real Techniques, but the set gives you another one of the blush brush, I believe, maybe even a powder brush, not sure. Used an e.l.f. spoolie for my eyebrows, and for the concealer, I used the Marc Jacobs the concealer brush. I can't say enough about the concealer brush and the Face 2 brush in Marc Jacobs. Love them, worth every penny. When these get worn and torn, I will buy more. And for my eyebrows, just to save time because I can't do it on camera, I'm using MAC Lingering today. Today I thought we would go for a more golden holiday look with a bright, bold lip. So I'm going to be using, I have my Anastasia Shadows here. I love them. I do not love them as much as I love my BISOUS, but I love them second, okay? I love you second. All right, so let's get started. I am going to start many of you are asking you which Wayne Goss brushes I got. I bought the anniversary set, but I also ordered the holiday brush. I have to say, this one just has a little bit of shedding, which, you know, I have to be honest. I don't mean to insult anybody, but I have to be honest. There is a little shedding with it. So I have to, but it's beautiful, just beautiful. But it is an expensive brush, and I hope that it just shed those 2 hairs and it won't shed anymore. All right, so I'm going to use my Wayne Goss brushes. I may throw in a couple of other brushes also, just because that's what I do. And my first brush, I probably will. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to start with, in the Anastasia Shadows, I'm going to go with the Soft Peach. You can tell that I love this because I have hit pan. So first I am going to take I have a MAC 227. I'm not going to sit here and name all the brushes and everything I'm using. I will put everything underneath for you. But I'm going to take the Soft Peach and I'm going to load that brush up pretty good with that. And I'm just going to tap that all over my eyelid, all the way up to the brow. This is going to help to create a perfect canvas. The eyeshadow base and then putting a powder over a nice neutral flesh tone will allow your other shadows to go on nicer. So I always start with some sort of flesh color. If I'm working with peach or rose, it is usually something with a little pink undertone. And for this look, I am going to use the soft peach, as I already mentioned. So I'm really just going to make sure that I have covered all areas. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to get my, this is called Fawn. This is a beautiful, beautiful neutral shade. Another one that I think would work for absolutely everyone. I'm going to take my MAC 217. I'm going to go in and I'm going to load the tip of that brush up, okay? Just the tip. I'm going to tap it off because Anastasia has a little bit of fallout. Not ridiculous, but there is some. Tilting my head back, I'm going to go in with the brush horizontal and I'm going to find my crease line and I'm just going to define the crease. Notice I do not want to put anything on the eyelid for this look because I am going to go in and pack on some beautiful gold shade. Okay, so right now we are just getting our transition crease color going. Horizontal with that brush, back and forth. If you work better with circular motions, then you go right ahead. All right, and I always start out with a little bit and I go and do what I want to do and then I come back and say, okay, I need a little bit more, because you can always put more on. It's easier to put more on than to take off if you've made a big whopping mess. Okay? Okay. So, all right, so that's pretty good. As you can see, looking at me, there's a little bit of definition starting. I have kept the whole lid area wide open. And I'm going to go over and do the other side. Now, take a look and see if they're even. They're pretty good. I'm just going to, I think I want just a little bit more on each eye. And I'm going to focus it in the center more than anywhere else. Okay, then I'm going to turn the brush so it's now vertical. And I'm going to start to soften that line. And what this does is it helps to bring that color up, so that it's kind of shading up into the eye, the upper eye part. Upper eye part. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, that makes sense, Crazy Miss Timmy. I know what you're saying. Okay, so I'm just turning the brush and I'm just going to soften that line, fade those colors into each other. Remember, leaving the lid part wide open. All right, no big deal here. You're just turning your brush a little bit and softening it. Try not to come too far down on the sides because then you drag your eyes down. So if you look, I now have some sort of definition going on in my eyeballs. Now I'm going to go in and I will say the, you know how I raved about the number 5 brush by Wayne Goss. I thought I would show you what they did. I may have shown you in the last video, so forgive me for repeating myself, but you may not have seen the last video. This is the new 5. This is the old 5. He has shortened the head on it, and it's a little more dense, which also makes it wonderful for really accentuating that outside crease, which we're going to do now. And I think I'm going to go in with, let me go in with, this is Sienna. I just want to start another transition color, and I'm going to take the number 5 brush. I just put it on the tip, tapped it slightly, and right here, lean back, I want to start putting a little bit of that red in there, just on the outer part so far, and it just gives you a little more depth to the outer edge, which I like for my eyes. Some of you may want to bring this all the way over, and some of you will just need to do exactly what I've done. So let me just put a little bit more again. That is the Sienna. And take your 217 and just lightly hold the brush further towards the bottom with your fingers, and then you'll get a lighter pressure, because we aren't trying to wipe these colors off. We're just blending them. So, okay, we have blended that in beautifully. Now I want to take Cocoa Bear, I think this one is. No, I'm sorry, this is Hot Chocolate. I'm thinking I'm working with Makeup Geek, and I'm not. I'm working with Anastasia. So this is Hot Chocolate, and I don't know if I showed the Sienna, so let me show you the Sienna again. Hot Chocolate and Sienna. All in the neutral family, really. And now I'm going to take that number 5 again because it's so precise to work with. And first I'm going to just lay it down in a V on the outer part of the eye, but I'm not really bringing it into the center of the lid yet. So just touching that Hot Chocolate, I'm going to lean my head back slightly, and I'm just going to bring it up slightly, just till it meets that bone, and then bring in a slight V. Put a little more color on if you need, and run that color. I want to try to do it really definite so you can see. Okay, so we have a V in the corner of the eye, all right? Put a little bit more of color on there, and let's really work that V, okay? Notice I'm not really bringing it out, because once I start to feather, it will. So I'm going to do the other side so that I have the right application on both. And that's what you'll be looking at before you blend it, okay? So now we're going to go in with a new blending brush, and I'll just take one of these from the Wayne Goss set, and this one here is the number 4, and I'm just going to softly, I don't want to bring it down on the lid yet. That's where all the gold is going to go. So I'm just softly blending this, and work in small sweeping motions. Don't get carried away and start working in, because you know, if our eyes are getting older and we just need to give them a little more love. And if you get carried away, then you're spreading it all over the place, okay? So we just blended that down slightly. I want to take the 217 and I'm just going to soften that even more. The 217 is a little stiffer, so I'm going to soften that line out a little bit on the edge there. Same on the other side. And kind of work the color in just slightly. Okay, so now I want to take the gold, and I am going to take the MAC 213. It's just a flat, like, paddle little brush. And I think I'm going to work with, let's see how this one works for us. This is in Anastasia, and it's called Suede. It's a satin finish. It's kind of, it's a very light pale gold. But I think it'll really work for what I'm trying to go after. I haven't really used this color before. So now I'm going to pack this all on the lid. Right into the corner. And, okay, take it right into your corner. Anywhere you did not put color yet, go ahead and put that on right into the crease, where the crease starts. Really pack the gold on. Okay. All right, so we have that all packed on. Now I'm gonna go back with a let me use my e.l.f. brush. I like the e.l.f. for blending. And I'm just going to soften the lines of that now. Just soften those lines out really lightly. You're not using a lot of pressure here. And you'll also buff that gold up now. Just because I'm looking at myself now and I'm thinking I need a little bit more red, I'm going to go in with that Sienna again. And I'm going to use my 217 by MAC. I'm just going to touch a little bit into it. And I'm going to really just run some on the outer part of the eye and right through that crease area again. Same on this side. And then I'm going to run it over that hot chocolate on the corner and then just blend it in. Okay. All right, so now we want to make the eyes so they're uniformed. I'm going to blend a little bit more, but I want to incorporate the bottom into the look. So I am going to start with that soft peach that I used in the beginning, because you want to do almost the same thing on the bottom. I'll use this Wayne Goss number 7 brush. It's just a very small flat brush, which you could also use to apply color onto the corners, which would really make it easier with an aging eye. But we are going to take that soft peach, load the brush up with the peach, and I'm just going to run it along the bottom and always pointing up. And you just want to lay down, we're doing just the same, we're making a transition color for the lower lash. They don't call it that, but that's what we're doing, is we're making the upper eye blend into the lower eye blend into the upper eye now. Okay, so now I'm going to take that, turn that brush around, and I'm going to take that second color, Fawn, and I'm going to do the same thing, just load it onto that brush. And I am going to take it, but now this way I'm not going all the way in with this color. I'm taking it 3/4 of the way, leaving the inner eye exposed. Now go and get that Sienna, and I'm just going to take it even less across. All right, and that's pretty good there. Now just take it without anything on it, the brush, and just blend those colors upwards. And now we're going to take the hot chocolate and we're just going to do just the outer edge and filter that up so that it makes a little tiny wing when it meets the other side. Okay, so that is the bottom part. Now I'm going to take my e.l.f. brush and I'm just going to sweep lightly across, and I'm realizing I need a little bit of color, so I think I'm going to take, all right, so I'm going to take a fluffy brush with a little more of the peach, and I'm just going to soften the edges of the colors that I used. Just you're just going on the upper part of the bone, you're not going into the crease with this. And you just want to do the same thing on the other side. Just soften those colors, the line with your soft peach. And you can also take a very small brush. Let's use the number 5 brush that I used. It's so small and defined that it really makes a big difference. And I'm going to take the rice paper. Now this is by MAC. I don't have anything in Anastasia that I can use for this. I'm going to touch lightly, and I am just going to put the rice paper on the inner part of that lid of the eye. Lid. You know, I'm telling you, sometimes I listen to myself back in these videos. I'm like, what am I thinking when I'm saying these things? I don't know. And the reason why I chose rice paper is because it's more yellow base. I didn't want to put a white base on. All right, so I'm just going to take the brush now and I'm just going to really soften the crease line a little bit now that I've placed the gold. And the colors will just kind of soften into each other. I don't like to have stark colors where they stop and go, so I like to blend them where they soften a little bit more, okay? All right, so now let's take our, I'm going to use the NARS Larger Than Life Apia pencil. I know I use this a lot. It just works for me. You're going to lift your eye up, and a lot of people have a problem doing this, and it's not the easiest thing. But if you lift your lid up as much as you can, it looks kind of gross, and then place the pencil really on your lashes, and then just run it all the way across, right into the corner, and then just go back, and it's just like short back and forth strokes. And then close your eyes slowly, and you may get some watering. It's very normal. All right, so if you look at the eye, that just adds a new dimension, and it gives it a little more of a sultry feel for those of us who don't really like to wear eyeliner, or it closes my eye off too much. One day I'll do a tutorial with it, and you all will see. So I'm lifting my eye up, and I'm just staying on the edge. Brushing up against the lashes is the best way I can describe it. Okay, and there we go. All right, so now I'm going to move on to a contour. And I'm going to use a contour by Anastasia, and it's the Fawn. And I order these individually, and I don't have any problem. I just put them in a little Z packet here with my other things, okay? So I'm going to use that because it's a very neutral sculpting powder, and I just kind of like the feel of more neutral when I'm using a more smokier eye. So I am just, you can see my face has an indentation right here. That is my natural contour. You'll notice on this side I don't have as strong a contour. So I'm just going to place some of that on. I'm going to tap it slightly. I'm using a very old brush. You will not be able to find it. Any brush that you can squeeze flat is just fine. Okay, so I'm going to place that powder in there, tap it on my hand, and I'm going to create my contour. And I do a little bit at a time because you can always add more. It's hard to take off once you have added it. So there is a contour, and I'm pretty happy with that. So now I'm just going to soften it slightly and maybe add a little bit more to the upper part. We don't want to bring any down, okay? And then I will slightly soften it on the outer edge so that you don't really see a huge indentation. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. It out. And now I have to add a little bit more to that side. For this side, it helps if I suck in. You see this contour is lower on this side than this side. So I just bring it down slightly to try to match it in. And then just lightly feather it into where I'm going to place my blush. I never put anything here. You can contour your jawline. Start in the back and just contour along. Make sure that you blend this really well, because if you don't, everyone's going to see your line. So really soften it in. Don't soften it up, soften it down slightly. And I don't know if you see a huge difference, but there is a slight difference when you contour the jaw. So again, I am going to go ahead and contour. I contour it all the way down and over. And then just nicely, don't add any more to the brush. Soften it down. Remember, less until you get the hang of it. Okay, so there I have sculpted out that. You can get into sculpting your nose. I don't sculpt my nose, all right? So now I'm going to put on, I'm going to start with my highlighter, which is going to seem unusual, but I almost want my highlighter to be coming through my blush instead of sitting on top of it. And I've chosen to go with the Kevyn Aucoin Candlelight. I'm going to use this beautiful brush by Wayne Goss, and it is the number 2 brush in the set. I'm just going to lightly roll this brush on. You can see how much product it picks up. I'm going to tap it off slightly, and then I am going to pat this highlighter on the top of the cheekbone. Now, as an aging woman, I have to drop it down a little bit because I don't want it laying in all of these wrinkles. So I'm just going to place that on. And I'm going to go and do the other side. Roll the brush. That's how these brushes are beautiful. And now I'm going to tap it along. Okay, so I have that. Little on the peaks, little bit. And then I like to place a little here. Notice I'm not really going in and picking up anymore, but I like to place a little here because I think it just brings out the, it lifts the arch of the eye. So now I want to soften that a little bit. So I'm just going to take a powder brush and I'm going to soften it. I'm stroking down with it. And same on the lip, because I don't want it to be so obvious, and because the Kevyn Aucoin does have a little bit of a white cast to it, with my yellow skin it is noticeable, okay? Alright, so I want to put my blush on now, and I'm choosing today to use, well, let me go ahead and do a little bit of bronzer. Now, I'm putting a little bronzer on because I feel that I look a little washed out. So I'm going to take my Bobbi Brown bronzing brush. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm going to tap it into here. I usually tap in on the side, and then I'm going to tap it off. And now I'm just going to go ahead and add some bronzer to add a little bit of life to myself because I feel I'm looking a little dull. All right, now this is not meant to contour. This is just adding some color to me, warming my skin up, okay? It's not going to take away the highlighter. The highlighter is still there. I'm going to run a little bit down. Now the Bobbi Brown brushes, they shed. Anybody who tells you they don't, I have to disagree. They shed. Okay, so I've just added a little bit of bronzer, and I might take just a little bit and go down the tip of my nose, my chin, because I really just kind of wash out in the summer. All right, so there is just a little bronzer, and this one I like because it just has a very soft bronzy gold look to it. There's not a lot of orange, and it's the Givenchy, but again, so now I'm moving on to my blush, and my blush is by Chanel. I don't know if it recorded that. It is the Rose Bronze, and I'm going to use the Bobbi Brown blush brush. Be careful with this. This picks up a lot of product, so I'm tapping into the Chanel blush, and I have picked up product. I am going to knock it off on my hand, and then I'm going to, you can smile, you can do whatever you like to do. I don't bring it too close to the ball of my apples. I don't do that. I think that's aging. But if you have a very narrow face and you want to make it look fuller, of course, bring your blush in a little further. I am going to focus this blush on the upper part of my cheek. And I'm going to touch a little bit more and apply it. And then I will softly feather it. And without adding any more, I kind of just run it up because I think it just all marries in together. Same on the other side. Okay. All right, that's good for me. I don't like a whole lot of blush on. So Chanel, very nice. Very high fragrance. If you don't like fragrance, you're not going to like it. All right, so I am probably, let me put my lips on and then I will go off camera. Well, no, I'm going to do my mascara and I will be right. All right, my friends, I'm back and this is the finished look. Obviously, I've taken my hair out of the rollers. I will tell you the lipstick I used. I used the liner by Giorgio Armani, and it is the color 6. It is a very orange red, leaning more towards the orange. So I chose the Dolce & Gabbana, and it's called Iconic Red. It is beautiful, love it. And for my mascara, I am using the Revita Lash Volumizing Primer and Mascara. And I did curl my eyelashes, and today I used my Shiseido Lash Curler. And I wanted to tell you that I did add to the center of my eye. Excuse me, I just brought it down to look more cat-like on the inner eye. And that was with the Makeup Forever Aqua Eyes in 2L. And my necklace, I will touch on that too. The necklace is from BCBG. I absolutely love this necklace. I just have it on with a silver sparkly top. Joelle sent me this, I think 2 years ago. Your list. That is it for today. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I will link everything below for you, including the necklace if I can find it, because I have to tell you, I think this baby is just stunning. I loved it. I had to have it. And it's black, but the stones have almost an olive feel to them, and they're very textured in the way they look, not in the way they feel. Just loved it. So it's one of my statement pieces. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe. We're anti-aging here. Be happy, healthy, beautiful, and most of all, my friends, lovable. I love you all. Bisous.